The Wellness Show, Episode 16.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. And welcome to The Wellness Show. And today I'm excited to have on the call Barbara Longue from a far distant place known as Australia. So Barbara, where are you from in Australia anyway?
Well, I'm originally an American, Tyson. I grew up in Pittsburgh and went to school in D.C. and lived all over the world, in France primarily. And then I was in New Jersey for 20 years before 3 years ago, I sold everything, sold my business, and picked up and moved to Tasmania, Australia, where we're building
a further place you could go on the planet?
A healing center. Yeah.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah. I had to look it up the other day. It's actually 10,622 miles from where I previously lived.
Wow.
That's a ways away.
Wow. That's getting away from yourself, or meeting yourself, I guess.
You know what? For me, it was creating the life of my dreams, starting a whole new business. I actually coach business owners on how they can live the life of their dreams and make their business work for them instead of them working for their business. And it's something that can be done any place on the planet. And I happen to choose this spot, but you don't really have to go 10,000 miles away to create the life of your dreams.
Yeah, and in fact, you have a program called that too, don't you?
I do. It's a globe-trotting entrepreneur program, and I help entrepreneurs really get their business amped up and ramped up so that they get the systems in place and that they're comfortable taking the time off. Comfortable because they're making enough money to take the time off and able to handle the technology and handle being able to delegate out the things that they need to stop doing. Most people are actually doing too much for their business. So I help teach them how to get more done with less, way less work.
I think I need to have a little session with you then. I need to stop doing and have a little bit more being in my life. Look, you have a background as a really quite successful entrepreneur. Weren't you in the wine business?
I was in the wine business for 35 years. I trained to be a winemaker in France, and then I took my business skills from Georgetown University and combined them to working in the wine business. I was on the wholesale side for 30 years, and it gave me the opportunity to see large scale and mom and pop retail and, people making wine all over the world. And it also allowed me to travel, which was one of the best aspects of it. Most wine country have great food, great people, and it really was a fun life.
Well, it sounds great. And I live in wine country too, in Canada. So I guess that means you're going to come and visit me. Check it out.
I think, that sounds like a plan. Yeah. I've never visited the wineries up there. I've had a bunch of their wines, but it's about time.
We're actually on the sort of the edge of the wine district here. It's pretty exciting. We're starting to get quite a good reputation. In fact, there's a winery that's just maybe 4 kilometers away from where I live, under the shadow of a huge cliff. Yeah, so we have interesting microclimates. But we're not here to talk about wine. We're actually here to talk about something completely different. But I love the fact that when you say you're a globe-trotting entrepreneur, you really were a globe-trotting entrepreneur, and you do know how to do this. And I really wanted to establish that credibility that this is not fluff you're talking about. This is firsthand experience.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, though, I learned the hard way. I used to do it the wrong way. I used to travel, and I would travel for business. And I would come back to huge mounds of paper or huge things that needed to be done. And now I make sure that I don't have that relapse. People go on vacation, they have a relapse when they come back to work because there's so much shit to do. Excuse my French, am I allowed to say that on air?
I guess you are. You just said it.
But what I learned is, and now I travel all over the place and I maintain my work life, an hour or 2 hours a day is how much I work, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm on the beach in Thailand, or whether I'm in Tasmania, or whether I'm visiting my mom in Florida, or wherever I'm at, I get work done, the teeny little bit of work that needs to be done, and I let everyone else do all the other stuff that I don't like doing. It changed my life, and I realized I wish I had known, I wish I had met this me back when I was doing all the traveling for work.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I'm sure there's lots of listeners out there that would really like to have those skills. And I know that you've put together a bunch of apps that you use in order to manage your business almost exclusively from your iPhone. I don't know, you're still doing that, or you moved to an iPad?
I do. Yeah. No, I use the iPad occasionally, but the reason I really like the phone is just because I can hold it in one hand. And, it's that to me is just really practical to be able to get a lot of stuff done. And I see people all the time who don't know how to get everything they can out of their phone. There's no reason to be tied down behind a computer anymore. There's just not. So it's when the system is placed and the business is set up properly to be operating properly, most people, unless you're running a restaurant, where you physically have to be hands-on, even offline businesses, I can help people get their life back and learn how to use their phone so they're not constantly trying to text and drive. Like, I know there are still lots of you out there who are still doing that. So you should stop that.
Yeah, stop that right now.
Stop that right now. That's really not good.
Yeah, it's expensive in Canada if you don't stop that right now.
It's expensive and it could be deathly for you
Yes.
or for somebody else. It's really not worth it. It's not worth it, and it just means we got to get you a better phone and we got to teach you how to use it better.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that I see people doing that are just making themselves crazy, and then they're stressed out at the end of the day, and then they don't know how to release that stress. So that's the second part that I wanted to talk about today. Is I've also got a program to help people use meditation to grow your business.
That sounds good. So let's hear about that.
Yeah, so it's actually an online course. It's a 6-week self-study course, and we're going to meet and do a live call at the end of it. And what it does is it's one of the actual secrets that I've used to learn how to not be stressed out of my mind. And I had to learn it because I was that business owner and entrepreneur who was stressed out of my mind. I was working 80 hours a week and just there's never enough time, and I had to learn how to slow everything down enough to stay healthy, be healthy, and get my life back. And meditation was really one of the key things that has helped me transform my business so that my business fits with the life that I really wanted. And so that's what we're going to work on, is whether you're a regular meditator or you're just thinking like, shit, I'm so stressed out of my mind. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I got 90 pieces of paper I got to deal with today, right? I got 90 things I need to do. And then someone's always come along saying, wait, are you on Instagram? Wait, no, you got to be on Pinterest. No, wait. So meditation is what, to me, is the real channel that helps somebody find their energy, their resources internally to be able to handle any stress that the economy or your colleagues can throw at you.
Yeah, I'm giggling over here because you're saying stressed out of your mind. We do want you out of your mind by meditating, but not by stress, right? We want you to calm down,
Exactly.
get into your heart, get out of your stress. But I was giggling, stressed out of your mind. Yeah, please get out of your mind, but don't do it that way.
That's right. That's right.
So it sounds like a great way to do it. And so I guess you also teach people how to do that at your center too, don't you?
We do. So what we've built here is a completely off-the-grid meditation and retreat center that, we collect rainwater into tanks, and that's what you're going to use to shower and drink. It's all solar and wind powered, and we've got yurts, which are like a big fancy tent to sleep in. And it's just a stunning view in the middle of a forest overlooking the Tasman Sea. So we just get great weather, if you know what that means. It's like big weather, like big sky, amazing clouds, just gorgeous sunrises and sunsets. And Tasmania is a cool island in Australia, whereas the rest of Australia is pretty hot on average. And this is a cooler climate, probably more like a Vancouver type of climate.
Well, that's interesting. So is it affected by the ocean quite a bit? It's like an oceanic, like, type
Yeah,
climate?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand you're in the midst of a huge vortex too.
It is, and that's why we named it the Vortex Healing Center. So for those of you who are familiar with some of the sacred sites in Australia, Uluru and Katajuda is the main site that's been renowned for thousands of years. And that's called the Rainbow Serpent site. And that part of the Rainbow Serpent, the tail of the serpent actually terminates right at the Vortex Healing Center. So we've got that energetic line coming down through there. And it's why it's an amazingly sacred spot. And the reason I ended up 10,622 miles away from my previous home is to be on that site and to protect it and to help open it up to the right people who are going to appreciate it.
Well, that's exciting. So you're on the tip of the tail of the serpent, the rainbow serpent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is about you, not about me, but I live in a vortex too. It's called Mount Ida. She's a huge vortex. We call this Satona North, but we don't want too many people to know about it. But seriously, it's a powerful vortex. Very, very exciting.
And that's the funny thing. You want everybody to know it, but don't come because it's protected. And we want to protect it. So it's been a bit of that kind of challenge as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dynamic tension.
People here, yeah.
So I love being around the vortex and being part of that energy. It does make for both ends of the spectrum. You end up with a lot of crazy people, and you end up with a lot of people that really are gifted too. But yes, it makes for an interesting life. But you're way in the boonies. I mean, you're off the grid, and I hear that for this new gathering that you're organizing, you're going to have to be hauling water, and you've got all these things you have to do to maintain your site, just like in bulldozers and piles for permaculture. My goodness.
It's true. But again, part of that's because we're outside of town. It's completely forested area, and it actually had been previously a cow pasture, and the area has been set up as a regulated reserve conservation land. So all the native trees have all come back and they're all growing, and the logistics of building that out in the middle of nowhere has been a challenge. It's been a way bigger challenge than I expected. I thought, in the States, you're just money can buy things, right. And here it's like, even with money, you can't get certain things. Like I can't get decent internet connection up there yet, but I just got an email this morning, which is fantastic, that says they're going to install the new high-speed internet in March. So that's just such a thrill. I can't even begin to tell you how good that's going to be.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I live in the boonies and I have satellite. Even now we're operating on satellite. It comes and it goes. I was just doing an interview on the East Coast in the middle of the storm, so that makes for bumpy, reception as well. So I can see where you will just be the happiest person on the planet when you have the technology to support you in the middle of nowhere to do what you feel you love to do. So back to the meditation. No wonder you need to learn how to meditate yourself to keep all this together.
Well, I did, and it's to me, it's part of the grounding that every business owner needs. And I call the meditation part of a practice that I call the core 5 habits that I do every single day to get my day started right so that I'm living in my truth. And as a business owner, if you're not living in your truth, you're trying to be something that you're not going to have the greatest success. You might even have some success, but if you want ultimate success for you, you've got to be speaking, living, and acting in your truth. And meditation for me is one of those 5 core habits that I help all of the business owners I work with to set up, maintain, and actually do. And the meditation, I think, is absolutely the key aspect of that, both to help find that creativity in your business, because we're always faced with some challenge that, oh my God, I don't know how to do that, that thing, or I've got a problem that needs solved, and how do I solve it? And meditation can allow that creativity to open wide open so that the ideas can flow and you're going to get the answers that you need when you need them. And especially it can help at the end of the day to help with stress, or people. I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs they're waking up in the middle of the night. They can't sleep. They've got, oh my God, there's so much stuff going through their head. And meditation is one of the easiest ways to help resolve those issues. Because if you're not sleeping, there is no way you're at the top of your game. There is no way you're making the income you should be making. So we deal with issues like that, and meditation is, like I said, to me, it's just one of the fastest ways. It's not the only way, but can be a very fast way to fast track your business success.
Of course, I got to ask this question. What are the other four?
I'm sorry?
I have to ask the question, what are the other four cores?
What are the other four? So the other things I actually do a brainstorming session every morning, writing 10 ideas on a subject. And that might sound silly, but that also breaks wide open all of the things that you do in terms of how does the brain react to fear of success or fear of failure. So even writing down 10 ideas on one subject is a great thing. I also contact my kids every single day, whether it's sending a picture with a little note or a phone call or a quick text or something, just to increase my personal relationship with them, and that's been a huge plus.
That's a great one. I like that one.
Yeah, it's made the distance crumble to not feeling far away at all. Particularly in my case when I really am physically that far away.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what the 10 things, writing them down. I got too many things in my head. I'd be scared half to death. I'd have so many things on that list. But yeah, I can see that would, for people that are afraid of ideas, that would generate more ideas. My problem is I have too many ideas. Maybe I better go meditate more. So what are some of the other ones in your list?
So it's all working with the mental, physical, spiritual, emotional parts of your body, and the fifth one is a business core. And so actually there's 10 ideas, and it's funny that you say that you're afraid that might stir up too many ideas. So like, for example, a list that you might make of 10 ideas would be 10 ways you can get your ideas out of your head and onto paper so that you're not stressed out.
That's a good one.
And that's your list of 10 things.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of list that I write, 10 ideas, and the ideas might be for myself or my business. If I'm feeling stuck, I might say 10 ways I can get unstuck. And then you go, oh yeah, I can actually use them. And the whole point of the exercise is actually to be able to pull out even really terrible ideas, like, oh, that's a bad idea. I would never do that. Because it actually helps you get used to just saying not every idea is good. Some ideas really are bad. And they really need to be thrown out. You don't need to do them.
Right.
And it really helps you sort through, boy, that was a bad idea. Or there might be one good idea in there. Or it's not even about actually acting on them. It's about getting the brain to function differently.
Yeah. It's sort of like a brain dump.
The other thing, it is.
Yeah, that's a great.
On any subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong. And I like the idea that, could even say 10 ways to dump all my ideas on paper and forget it. I like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I think we're missing one, aren't we? Are we missing?
We're missing the exercise. I also exercise every single day.
Right. You do Qigong, don't you?
I do. Among other things, I do Qigong in addition to other physical exercises. Yeah. So, which is also, it's whatever exercise somebody wants. When you get your body moving, this is also going to help your ideas flowing. I can't tell you how many great business ideas I get just because I might be just taking a walk through the woods.
Right.
It's a really critical part of my day, and about feeling good about how do I start my day? What does my day look like after I've done these 5 things in the morning? everything else is just a plus because I've already lived the things that I want and I value in my life.
Perfect. So that I want to ask the question then, how do you wind up your day? How do you, do you meditate? How do you wind down? Do you do a review of anything? What do you do to wind down and stop?
I actually try to do my wind down a lot earlier than most people, just because I'm up very early in the morning and I go to sleep very early at night. So my wind down, I try to finish it when I leave the office or when I leave my work. That's when I do a real short review of the day and close everything up. Computer gets turned down, phone gets turned on to airplane mode, and that's the end of my day. It's very brief, but it's a conscious closing business. Now it's just relaxed time.
Great. So when do you start up? I mean, if you're an early bird, I am too. When do you start?
Honestly, I finish my day probably about 5:00, 5:30.
Yeah,
And then
me
the
too.
rest is just
Yeah.
do nothing, just relax, enjoy, nothing else.
And when do you start?
I start early. I start between, 4:45 and 5:00 in the morning. So
Yeah, that's before me. But yeah. So when do you start with your meditation? Which comes first?
I actually usually do the exercise first to get
Ah,
myself moving,
yeah,
and then the meditation, and then I jump in the shower and I'm off and doing something, making calls or working with clients.
great, great. Well, that's fantastic. So you've got this program. Well, you've come up with three things that I think are very exciting. You have one, you've talked about your conference center, and I know you're about to do an event there. Why don't you tell people about that event? I was quite excited when that's a really going to
Yeah,
be
this
quite
is
something.
it really is going to be a big event. There's some people listening to this may be familiar with the International Association of Grandmothers, and they also have inspired a lot of women in other countries to create a similar type of consortium, if you will. And so there's a council of 13 Australian grandmothers from all over Australia, and including some New Zealanders, some Maori natives, and some Aboriginals, and some other people who are just really interested in the passing of wisdom and knowledge down from ancient times to current life. And we've got all of them coming to visit Tasmania to our healing center for their conference. And we're going to have a number of open days at the school they're going to be visiting, and we've got an open session for all the local community, and then we've got a special retreat for our members to come and spend a whole day with the grandmothers and as they share their wisdom and share their knowledge and share their love for the planet and their love of how all humans can help work together as one.
And when's that going to be?
That is, I've got to look at my calendar here. That is Thursday, March 10th to Monday, March 15th. There'll be activities all around Tasmania, particularly in the St. Mary's Break a Day region on the East Coast for those 5 days.
Wow, that sounds exciting. So what's your launch date
Yeah.
for your program, for the meditation and business program? Do you have one, or you're going to come back and let us know? Or
that's going to launch at the end of March, right after the grandmothers. So that's going to launch that, it looks like that following week, the Monday, the 22nd of March.
All right. So how do people get hold of you and get involved in these programs?
They can easily sign up and get on my email list and get the list of the 5 best travel apps for business. They can go to globetrottingentrepreneur.com, or they can find me on Facebook. It's Barbara Longue, Longue. There are actually a couple additional Barbara Longues that have popped up there. A few years ago, I was the only one for a very long time. And they can connect with me on Facebook. I've also got a Globetrotting Entrepreneurs Facebook page. So ask to be my friend, and I can send you some info on the 5 business apps, or if you're interested in learning how to grow your business using meditation, I can send you some info on that course. And if you'd like to join us at the Grandmothers, we've got our own Facebook page for the Vortex Healing Center, and that is Vortex Healing Center 7215, which happens to be our zip code or our postal code here.
Wow. So do that that address one more time, because that was a lot.
Yeah. So Vortex Healing Center, and it's spelled the British way, CENTRE, on Facebook.
All right. Great. So what's the last thing you'd like to leave to these globe-trotting entrepreneurs that need to meditate and should come to your center?
Well, what I'd like them all to know is that it doesn't have to be only one thing or another, that maybe you're interested in meditation or what some people call some of the woo-woo things, and maybe you're interested in business. As humans, you're allowed to do both. You can be both. You can allow your healing and your meditation to grow your business. So it's not one or the other. We're all multifaceted beings, and one facet of you living an abundant life is to be able to grow an abundant income. So that's what I would like to leave you with. And I think meditation is one of the fastest ways to help you get there.
And I agree. And it's been a pleasure having this discussion with you. And I'm sure you're going to meet many folks coming your way as a result of being on the Wellness Show. So thank you ever so much.
Great. Thanks, Tyson.
Bye-bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.